Greetings, friends. My name is Carson Barlow, and welcome to Humanity 3.0. Intro! These are hearts, because I ain't got nothing but love to give. So, I've often taken a long, hard look at the world that we live in, and what my place is in it. Truth be told, I'm a bit of an existential crisis junkie. It's just I come out the other side so much more sure of myself and what my place is in this universe. You might want to keep that in mind, as I may very well induce an existential crisis with what I'm about to talk about. Okay, here we go. So, are people inherently good or evil? I'd pondered this question once while I was eating lunch overlooking a parking lot. I had been aware of my tendency to see the best in others and myself, and was wondering if that was a valid perspective. Well, while I was pondering this, I saw a young man running towards the bus stop to ensure he was going to make it on time. He was obviously driven to action, but what could have been his motivation? Meh, he could have just been stressed out about getting to his job on time so he wouldn't get fired. Sounds like a reasonable assumption to me. But why would he even care about his job? Well, maybe he had a kid to support. That sounds reasonable, and noble, if I may say. Now, of course, this is impossible to verify on the account I was unwilling to get up and cross the parking lot to ask him. But let's see what kind of fun we can have with this scenario, shall we? Okay, well then why would he want to support his kids? Well, let's suppose that he just doesn't want to get crap from his wife, and that's it. Oh man, maybe that's not so noble after all. Well, why does he not want to get crap from his wife? Maybe he wants to build a strong and loving marriage. Maybe now he's not quite so bad, but why does he want to have a strong and healthy marriage? Maybe it's just to prove to his parents that he's worth something. Okay, well now I don't even know what to think here. Going even further, why would he feel like he'd need to prove something to his parents? Maybe he didn't get the attention that he needed growing up. Okay, I'm going to stop there for now. But as you can see, our motivation for doing things has layers, some more virtuous than others. I touched on this concept a bit in my first video, but I can't really help myself. I just gotta dig deeper. So this hypothetical example only considers one string of motivations, but we all often have multiple influences that play onto the decisions that we make. So how on earth are we supposed to sort out this whole web of motivations? When you boil it all down, what, if anything, is the driver behind all of our actions? Well, for any action or decision to be made, neurons in your brain need to fire off in a particular pattern and sequence in order to aggregate to a coherent thought. Pew, pew, pew! Could our actions really just be a manifestation of neurological configurations? If that's the case, then that means that each human is neither good nor evil, that we're as inherently neutral as a rock rolling down a hill. Existential crisis setting in yet? But let us entertain this thought for a moment, shall we? First of all, let me tell you that I really don't know if this is the case or not. It's just the conclusion that I've come up with based off of the evidence that I've been able to evaluate. That said, this is a conversation starter, and as a member of this community, I would value your input. Okay, now getting back to the idea that all human activity just boils down to physics and chemistry. If that is indeed the case, then that has some pretty far-reaching implications. The biggest one is that we may not necessarily have free will at all. This is a really disconcerting concept for a lot of people, and quite frankly, I don't really know if we do or not. One thing is for sure, it certainly feels like I've got free will, but just because I feel a certain way doesn't necessarily mean it's the reality of the situation. But even if we don't have free will, I still find the concept a very useful analogy. It's definitely far more effective than counting neurons of every single decision ever made. I mean, I can still encourage myself to make the choices in life that would bring me the most happiness and fulfillment. There are plenty of other implications to the neutrality of human behavior that I'll get into in other videos. But there's one important thing that I wish to mention concerning this idea, and that is that if this is indeed the case, I still love humanity anyway. And just like I can look outside and be enthralled with the majesty of nature, I can look at each individual and say, I find value in you. Humanity might not be inherently good or evil, but I like it. And I might be saying that just because I'm biologically programmed to, but I don't care. I am consciously choosing to embrace that anyway. Now this isn't to say that we don't have our problems. Do we have our problems? But not only do I see our problems, I also see people who care about those problems. And that is just part of the reason why I love you guys so much. Stay classy, my friends. You know, you can always judge a man's beard by how much love he puts into it.